Welcome to Combat Society. This is the first ever Hex post-fight show. I'm Madison, this is Tyrone, and what a night of fights at Hex Fight Series 17 at the Melbourne Pavilion last night. The main event, Kit Campbell versus Joel Kendrick. What a finish, what a fight.
Absolutely, Kit Campbell from the bell coming out to knock him out and achieve that for sure, once he knocked him down, hitting him with vicious ground and pound and finished the fight quite quickly. Joel Kendrick wasn't really in it after he got rocked that first time. There was nothing you can really do in that situation, and Kit finished the fight impressively.
Yeah, they don't call him the killer for nothing. He came right at him. They were both swinging, and he clipped him, and he was out. He was out cold.
Absolutely, in the lead up to this fight, we got to see some of Kit's training footage, him doing some pad work, and it looked vicious. It looked fast, it looked powerful, and that translated into the fight. He came out with that same intensity that he has in practice, and it was an impressive performance.
Yeah, he's only 24. Joel Kendrick only 21. Joel Kendrick had to step up in this fight because Kit Campbell's had a late replacement. He was supposed to fight UFC China, the Ultimate Fighter China winner. So this was a big matchup for Kendrick. If he would have got that win, that would have been huge. But it happens. That's the fight game.
Kit's only 24 and he's looking for impressive finishes like this. Now, when you're 24, you have impressive finishes. You're well-rounded. The doors are open to you. The sky's the limit. These worldwide promoters, we're talking UFC, Bellator, these guys are looking for young guys like this that can finish fights and put on exciting fights. And Kit is the right guy for them. If he can keep putting on impressive performances like this, there's no doubt he'll end up, at one of these franchises.
Yeah, Kit Campbell just lost the belt a couple fights ago, the Hex welterweight belt, and he needs to put on those performances like this. So he's looking to get into the UFC next. Maybe will probably win the Hex title first and then get into the UFC. And I do expect him to see that because he's one of Australia's finest talents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the next fight was Deshamed Armstrong versus Nathan Reddy, the Vanilla Gorilla. And this was a different kind of performance that we haven't, I haven't really seen from Nathan Reddy. We were expecting some fireworks, yep. Some crazy knockouts. Like the last fight, he massive head kick, but he got the win anyway.
Yep. So from Nathan, we were thinking maybe he'd come out with the same intensity of his last fight with that huge knockout. But, this time, he came out with a wrestling approach. He knew he had to come out with a wrestling approach, and for 3 rounds, he dominated him on the ground. The first round and a half, taking him down with heavy ground and pound, let up as the fight went on, but still controlled it from every position on the ground, and he got an easy win, an easy decision for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you need to show that type of style. That you're very diverse. You got a diverse game style. And he showed he can take it to the ground if he needs to. If your striking's not working, bring it to the ground. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He controlled it, and I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great performance.
Yeah, Aiden Aguilar versus Jan K. Chi. Aiden had a lot of difficulty getting a matchup. I spoke to him. He said he had like 3 changes, so he eventually got a fight, and what an impressive performance! He's one of Australia's best talents right now, and he got an early finish.
Absolutely, that was a one-sided affair. Aiden quick with that takedown, and then just ground and pounded him. Just a picture perfect win for him. Didn't cop any damage, took the fight to the ground, straight ground and pound. That he stays true to his name of the premature finisher, and that finish was definitely premature.
Yeah, in his last 2 fights, he's finished it in the first round. Armbar of Josh Togo in his last fight, and then now just destroying this guy. He has a lot going forward.
Absolutely, the sky's the limit for him also.
Yeah. The next fight was Jason Bang versus Raymart Quintana. Early in this fight, there was some really controversial things happen. Talk us through that.
First round, Raymart landed 3 clean groin strikes. Now, the first one, you get a warning. Second one, even worse than the first, you need to take a point there. Yeah. You definitely need to take a point there. The referee did not take a point. Now, they continued the fight, and it happened again, and that was when the point was taken off the 3rd strike. Now, Jason Bang took pretty much most of the time that he was allocated to recover from that. Now, those strikes look pretty bad. Now, did that affect him during the fight? It could have. Now, Raymart even though he got that point taken, you'd have to score that round a draw because he did do enough in that round to, if there was no point taken, he would have won the round. So the first round a 9-9. Now, as you're going through the rounds 2 and 3, Raymart was winning slightly, and that was enough to win him the decision in the end.
Yeah, I gave that to Raymart, even though I think he actually landed 4 groin strikes. He landed 1 extra as well. So, but Bang was actually like incapacitated for a little bit. Like he took a lot of time off from those groin strikes. But yeah, that kind of overshadowed the fight. Quintana, though, impressive. He won the last 2 rounds. He won all 3, but obviously because of the point taken away, draw. But, you know, he's one of ATT's best guys as well. So we're looking forward to seeing more impressive performances from him. So hopefully...
And take nothing away from Jason Bang, you know, in my opinion, I saw those striking exchanges. Raymart was getting the better of them, but I was very impressed with Jason Bang's movement. He just looked fluid. He looked comfortable. He wasn't quite finding the shots, but he did look good, and I think he's got great potential.
Yeah, definitely. The next fight was Chris Wase versus Chak Lee. Chris Wase from Rowville, so he's a local guy. You know, he's from Scammer Gym. He had the most supporters there. He got the win.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, early he was getting the takedowns early and controlling in the top position in the first round. Now the second round came along and he implemented the same sort of game plan. He did get dropped and he got hit with the shot and briefly got dropped. And his opponent started coming for him, but he reversed the position and ended up getting his back and winning the fight by ground and pound. So, you know, that's overcoming adversity. You know, being briefly hurt and then coming back to win by that way is quite impressive.
Yeah, and after he won, he really embraced the crowd and all of his supporters. He jumped on the cage. You know, that's a really good win for him. You know, grinded it out, got the W. That's all you want.
Yeah, that's you know, it's a testament to his toughness. You know, being hurt and coming back and winning like that, it's a good performance.
Yeah. Saeed Kazas versus Dane Beebe. This was an interesting matchup, you know, full-on wrestling, just wrestling assault to begin with, when he's known for his aggressive wrestling, pressure, and we did see that today.
Absolutely.
Or last night.
Well, absolutely. You know, Saeed came out with that wrestling assault early. First 2 rounds just coming out with huge wrestling attacks, but it seemed from Dane that he was just trying to survive. The damage wasn't that great, but he was winning those rounds for sure. Now, the 3rd round came along and Saeed went for it seemed like a bit of a lazy shot. He might have been a bit tired. And Dane was able to submit him with a rear naked choke. Now, it's hard to do with a wrestler of that caliber, but it just shows you that maybe Saeed wasn't at that cardio level in that 3rd round where he needed to be to really clinch that 3rd round and really get the win. But, you know, great performance by both guys. Yeah,
Saeed looked very impressive early. He got those rounds. He just needed to grind out that last one, but he locked in a choke. So
yeah, you know, it's also a testament to Dane's weathering of the storm. You know, surviving two and a half rounds of, you know, brutal wrestling assault and then coming back to win like that. It's good.
Sometimes that really, in the fight, when you're thinking about that and you're everything you're doing is getting stopped because this guy's sitting on top of you, that really plays at you. Am I going to be able to do my game plan? Am I just going to lose here? Am I just going to get grinded out for this whole 3-round fight or whatever? And he got back and got the choke.
That's right. You know, his first opportunity to finish the fight, Dane, he took it and won, and that's it's good.
Yeah. Rafael Scott versus Alex Georges. This was my favorite fight of the night. Definitely the best fight of the night. Maybe one of the best fights we've seen at Hex. What a war. Alex Georges getting the knock by the decision. You know, it wasn't without controversy though.
Yeah, it was a great fight. You know, at the start of the fight, Alex looks like he was just pretty much landing, not at will, but he was landing a lot of shots. And he seemed like he wanted to fight in the pocket. Now it seemed like in the 2nd round he had multiple chances to finish the fight. Alex did, but it seemed Alex wanted to not finish it, put more of a show on, and he briefly gave him a chance to recover and sort of told him to come into the middle of the ring and we'll keep going. when he had a great opportunity to finish the fight. He could have finished it. And the end of that round went with Rafael. What seemed to be, he locked in a heel hook, but Alex looked at him and gave him the root finger and smiled, and it was clear that he did not have the heel hook. And Alex won that round, and then he came back in the third and put the same type of performance on, and he won it by decision. But originally they called the fight for Rafael, and the crowd went crazy. It was an uproar. Then for some reason they announced that Alex had won, so they must have got the scorecards backwards, or something happened. It wasn't actually explained, but originally when they announced Rafael won, the crowd wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, I think what happened there was the names on the scorecard were switched. But yeah, it would have been a highway robbery if Rafael Scott would have won, because we clearly saw that, Alex Georges clearly won that fight.
Yeah. He definitely won all 3 rounds, for sure.
He nearly finished it. He could have finished him. It looked like Rafael Scott was about to collapse. He was kicking his legs and he was just completely collapsing. But he's a showman. He has that star power to actually, break into that, break into the UFC and make a name for himself. He's, I believe, 7-0 right now.
Yep.
One of ATT's best guys, the Hitman.
Yep.
If you've got Suman around you, Ashton, those guys, you can do a lot of things.
Absolutely. He's got that attitude to him. Some people love it, some people hate it. He as his career goes on, he could become quite a polarizing figure for sure.
Yeah, I see him becoming. If he ever gets into the UFC, I think he'll garner a lot of fans
for sure.
The next fight was 2 debut fighters, James McBride and Matt Myers. I know a bit about Matt Myers. Trains at Adrenaline under Chris Brown, 5-time Olympian. He was looking to implement that wrestling game style, and he did that.
Yeah, absolutely. The first round he came out and he was straight away going for that takedown. Trying to get it to the floor. He struggled a bit, and there was a guillotine threat there from James McBride early on. He was sort of putting his head on the outside and he was sort of getting caught in some sort of headlock. But as round 2 and 3 came along, he got a big takedown in round 2, and it seemed like his confidence just shot up after that, and there was no stopping him. He won rounds 2 and 3, and probably round 1 also, but not as dominant as round 2 and 3. And once he got those takedowns and was getting more comfortable, obviously he's debuting, so you're gonna have those nerves. Once he came back in round 2 and 3 and won those rounds, he won the fight. So
yeah, on your debut, and you don't have a bit of confidence, and then you do something good, you get that confidence, and he rid that confidence and won the fight. So I think in his next performances, get a bit more confident in the stand-up, and he can be a very good fighter.
Absolutely.
The next fight was Michael Barber and Cain Jones, who was debuting. Michael Barber has a few fights. The story of that fight was, Cain Jones winning the first round, and then Michael Barber coming out again, coming back and winning.
Yeah, absolutely. Barber defending the clinch and the grappling of Cain, but Cain still probably winning that round. And then Barber coming out, maybe Cain got a little bit tired, and then Barber was able to just let his hands go. And once he did, it was a TKO finish, and there's not much else to say about that. It was good performance.
Yeah, I think it was probably a filling out process at the beginning. Michael Barber then knew. You could tell, you could see it in his face. He knew that the finish was there. He could see it. He was landing those punches, connecting with a lot of things, and just finished it.
Once you get held up against the cage for one round, you're thinking, I'm not going to let this happen in the second round. I'm not going to let him close that distance and grab me. And once he realized that, he was able to get the finish, and it was a good performance.
Yeah. Jacob Malkoon versus Ryan Hakata. Jacob Malkoon actually trains with Rob Whittaker. I was speaking to him. He trains regularly with Rob Whittaker, and he was actually there at Hex. So that was really, really awesome to see Rob Whittaker, UFC middleweight champion, at Hex. And you could see it'd been rubbing off on him.
Absolutely. Ryan Hakata, a quality opponent, but Jacob Malkoon landing big shots early and finishing the fight cerebrally, like just viciously, just finishing the fight viciously. Knew how to finish, and it looked really good. It looked like UFC caliber finishing style. Like knowing when to finish and how to finish. it was a good performance, and he finished it quickly, and it was good.
Yeah, he moves to 2-0. I expect big things from this guy. If you've got Robert Whittaker in your corner, early in your career, early days, that's going to affect you. That's going to get you to that level.
Absolutely. We're talking about a UFC champion here, and getting to train with that person every day, Robert Whittaker every day, it showed in this performance for sure.
Yeah. Oscar Kong, this was the first fight of the night. Oscar Kong versus Samuel G. They were both 0-2, I believe, but Samuel G getting the win, BJJ brown belt and judo black belt.
Yeah. Samuel, not much to say about this fight. It was quite an easy fight for Samuel. Once he got it to the ground, it was pretty much over with ground and pound. A very dominant performance for Samuel.
Yeah, definitely. That was the Hex post-fight show. We'll see you next time. I'm Madison. This is Tyron. Catch ya.